in the Engadine Valley, where 322 days of sunshine a year are guaranteed. It is crisp, clear and beautiful in St. Moritz as we get ready for the latest installment in the two-man bobsleigh World Cup. Good morning, everybody. Martin Haven and John Morgan ready for the 10th race of this very strange season. But some things remain familiar, John Morgan. This hand-built track is still the mecca for sliders.
Yeah, 120 years ago or so, Martin, they started building this track and racing on it. And it changes every year, a little bit, but pretty much the same look with curves. This is a long straightaway that they go into this wall section of the track. It's a big, long, sweeping left. And these curve names, some of them have been on this track for over 100 years. This is the exit of the wall, two-corner combination called the Snake. Now this big sweeping right called Sunny. And you're going about 55. Nash and Dixon, named after the two British gold medalists from the '64 Olympic Games in Innsbruck. Horseshoe, most famous curve in the world. Telephone. Then we go into Shamrock. Now this corner, Devil's Dyke, you're going about 80 miles an hour here. Tree, Leap, the next one, Bridge. And now we go into Gunner Sachs. 90-mile-an-hour speed you approach here. Martineau, named after the St. Moritz Bobsled Club founder. Portago, named after the F1 driver, into the finish. Martin, there's so much history on the track, it just jumps at you.
And the beauty all around us. Yesterday, a really snowy day for the head of our track crew, the Olympic silver medalist in four-man from Nagano 98, Marcel Rohner, and his 24 staff. It was a massive day. Today should be a lot easier. Francesco Friedrich leads our World Cup standings from Johannes Lochner, his teammate, with Swiss Michael Vogt, 3 medals in his season already, lying in 3rd place. And we have a bumper field of sleds getting ready for action. 22 of them, including some we haven't seen for a while. And welcome back to our North American sliders again, who joined us in Winterberg. Well, this is what you expect from St. Moritz. -19, -20 overnight, crystal clear, crisp conditions. And Francesco Friedrich, well, he'll be hoping not to repeat his first ever World Cup race here back in 2012 when he was the Europa Cup champion, set off at the top. Unfortunately, his brakeman Janis Becker didn't get into the sled. Friedrich was talking to us about it last week, said he had no idea. He just looked at the track, it looked different from training. The sled was skidding around all over the place. He thought, okay, that's the way it is in St. Moritz. It was only when he got to the bottom, he went straight past the finish with no brakes, that he decided to look behind him and see what was going on. Ready to get race 10 of 12 in the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup underway. Great Britain's Lamin Dean with 100-metre double Olympian James De Solo behind him. James, a newcomer to bobsleigh this year, still will compete, hopefully, in Tokyo 2021. And obviously then looking to go to Beijing in 2022 with Lamin Dean and British bobsledding.
Couple big units here, Martin. Good technique for James into the sled. 5:30 start record. Well, we're going to see a lot of start records because, the track records change as they build this unbelievable ice canal every year. Lamin doesn't really like the two-man like he does the four-man. He sort of uses the two-man as a warm-up for the four-man.
He will also have a track record at the end of the run. This is the first run for World Cup bobsleigh in official competition. Heading down to Horseshoe.
Sound just beautiful. It's just, the athletes can hear the commentator. That's how smooth it is compared to the loud rumble of those refrigerated tracks that all the athletes compete on all the rest of the tour. Look at the speed, 141 kilometers. 107 compared to Winterberg last week, Martin. It was 49 second times, wasn't it? So they got 18 seconds difference. 18 seconds more than what they're used to, in Innsbruck and Sigulda. All three tracks, Sigulda, Innsbruck, Winterberg, those are all short 1,250 50-second tracks. This one here, well, it's a different animal.
It's like a runner going from a kilometer to 1,500 meters. It's a long difference. Big height in Horseshoe, not right up by the woodwork there, but a nice smooth line. And John, the conditions could not be more perfect. Ideal St. Moritz weather. Well, he gets the frosty ice. It will be frosty all the way through this first heat. It'll get quicker and quicker as the day goes on. Next up, Alexei Stulnev finished 4th in the race here last year, equaling his World Cup best in two-man.
Yeah, he was one of those guys, I'm sure, that was in the back of the field last year. I really like the way he sits low in the cowling, Martin. As we watch the rest of the field come at us, just watch the driver. I really like the way he sits this low with his eyes barely above the cowling. Veteran of about 7 years on the circuit, Martin. I don't know how many starts he's had.
Well, this is his 49th in two-man alone. Whoa, a little late there. Vasily Kondratenko's brakeman hasn't done a two-man race since February 2019. So 2 years since Kondratenko was in the back of a two-man sled.
You will not see many more sleds make the mistake that he did down there. I think it was maybe in Tree. And I'm gonna have a hard time matching anything Lamandine has. I mean, Martin, very rarely do we see sleds with that type of no control like we saw. Yeah. I mean, the track is very forgiving.
Last day of training was very snowy, much snowier than yesterday. I mean, it was near blizzard conditions. So suddenly the track is like greased lightning. Here we go, out of telephone into Shamrock.
Yeah, there he's late there, and then he's late on the next curve. This is down, I think, in Tree.
Wow. Yeah.
Bridge. And boy, that you won't see too many sleds doing that, and we're going to see a lot of sleds today.
Next up, Markus Treichel, 31st World Cup start for the Austrian, 27 years old. In the race last year, finished in 20th place. Sebastian Mitterer, his brakeman. New boy, comes from tennis. Wow, they throw the net wide, don't they? Third ever World Cup start in two-man for him.
Yeah, decent start, 5:26. Good for Markus. Markus has had a lot of injuries in his 3-4 years we've seen him out in the circuit. He's got the clear visor on. Not everybody will have the clear visor. Green numbers relative to the start. Sunny. Now this Nash and Dixon curve coming up wasn't kind to the skeleton athletes, Martin. Looks a lot more tame for the bobsled athletes.
Yeah, they've got a little more control there, haven't they? And that's important for speed out of Horseshoe. Top speed, no. Second best speed.
Got 1800s in the bank. Should come back to 1000s or so, 18. Still maintaining. So this could be the leader. We saw a lot of disparity in the skeleton times. I don't think we'll see as much in the bobsled times. Doesn't have the best speed that Lamandine had. Should be the leader, though, track record by 500ths. There's Wolfgang Stampfer, a track record holder here many times himself. Stampfer was a longtime Austrian veteran, great in four-man bobs. He was a speed merchant.
Word from US coach Tuffy Latour is that Telephone and Shamrock have been real problem areas this year. And this year, a lot of the corners have got very long take-ons. So you get onto the corner maybe a little earlier than you think you need to.
Good technique by the brakeman for being new in the sport. Look at the high line. And the brakeman looks like his little bit of his back showing there for the aerodynamic drag. Looks a little high.
Next up, Mihai Centea of Romania, just 22 years old. Next week here in St. Moritz is the Bobsleigh and Skeleton Junior World Championships. He's still eligible for that for another 3 seasons. Raul Dobra behind him, 24 years old. Yeah, it's a very young crew, this Romanian crew. 4th in the Youth Olympic Games in 2016. We talked about how many former Youth Olympians were in our women's skeleton field yesterday, but we've got a few in the men and women's bobsledding as well.
I think Patrick Baumgartner, he's in the field, is he today? No, or is he over?
Youth Olympic champion. Laura Nolte, Youth Olympic champion from 2016. She'll be in the women's race on Sunday morning. She'll be racing monobob this afternoon as well, which was a Youth Olympic discipline in 16 and 20.
So Mataja's a good driver. We've seen that. You know, the Romanians do so much with so little. 500's back. This looks like at least a 2nd place run, Martin. Aerodynamics.
Speed not quite where it was for Lamindine. So yeah. Second, little touch between Martino and Portago, and across the line, 300s back. Wow, that makes Alexei Stulnev's run look very disappointing. Yeah, Alexei Stulnev 3/10 off the other 3 sleds covered by 500s.
Well, this is part of the early draw, and I would say that Stulnev is going to have all he can do to make the cut.
I think you might be right.
You know, look at the brakeman. That's not a very good entry into the sled. He's still not in, still not down. Sled's out of the grooves. So he's impacting the way the sled's entering that first curve. Now he gets his arms in. Martin, that's an uphill section on the exit of Martino to Portago. In skeleton, we saw a lot of people hitting there.
Yeah, you can lose a race in the last couple of 100 meters here, no question. Roman Heinrich next up, 30-year-old from France. Silver medalist in Lake Placid back in 2019 in the World Cup race. That's still his World Cup best. He finished in 9th place here last year. Lionel Lefebvre, of the 9 races we've had so far, has done 6.
That was a disaster first step. Yeah, he came out of the blocks and lost his balance. Plus, listen to this. Is a little loud, this sled. Listen to this.
Yeah.
It sounds a little louder. Something's, well, there's something loose there. You know, I mean, just my instinct tells me just something. Sounds like a freight truck coming down.
Yeah, that is the noise that sled makes. And you're right, every time I hear it, I think why is something rattling around inside? But that's the noise it makes.
700's back, speed, gives him a chance. He has the best speed. Heinrich, experienced driver, came out of the brakeman's position, accelerated himself heavy into the 2018-19 season. Green numbers. He's being rewarded for some good lines. See if he can get through the exit of Martino without touching. He does. Could be the leader. Track record.
Yes, he is. Yeah, every faster sled that comes down gets a track record. You get a record, you get a record, you get a record.
Yeah, yeah. But you can tell your grandchildren, I held the record in St. Moritz at one time. It might be only for 2 minutes, but you held the record.
Exactly so.
Look at the slip here. That's his shoes. The grip on his shoes he's got, I don't know, those are the Adidas is out of the business. Don't know what he's got there for shoes, but Martin, he almost didn't make the sled.
Well, that was exactly the kind of thing that happened to Janis Becker and Francesco Friedrich, but Becker went face down on the ice, couldn't hang on to the sled, couldn't even haul himself in. So that was okay for Lionel Lefebvre, did get in. They didn't get the best start, but they are
the fifth best start, best lead. So here's one of our Youth Olympic Games athletes right here. In fact, the guy
2012 Youth Olympic champion. Now, then it was a 2-seater sled, like a 2-man. Since then, in 16 and 20, they've been monobobs. Baumgartner, 26 years old. One race here, that was in 2019, and he was 21st, so he missed the cut in his only 2-man race here.
Italians with great legacy in the sport. Monty, multiple world champion here, 50s. And Nino Bibbia, who won the skeleton crested gold medal here in 1948. Just amazed to know that he also competed in the 2-man and 4-man events, finishing 4th and 6th. That was some Renaissance person then.
That's super cool. Is it too late to get Francesco Friedrich on the skeleton sled?
Well, at least the Cruster run would take him in. Oh, there's a tap.
Yeah. Okay, that was not a great run for Baumgartner. 6th place, 300s behind Alexei Stulnev, but they're well out of touch with the leading group.
Yeah, now you're starting to talk about making the cut.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, there's some other newbies in the field, but didn't get a good start. No speed. It's been on the track a lot. Martin has been driving for 12 plus years. This former Alpine skier makes a big mistake there in that uphill. You can sort of get a feel for the uphill. TV doesn't do it justice.
Next up, Oskars Melbardis of Latvia, the 32-year-old we thought had retired. He thought he had as well. He's unretired. Mats Miknes' brakeman, 39th 2-man World Cup. The brakeman is 28, John. He's already started 78 World Cup races in 2-man and 4-man.
Well, David Drieskens was the same. He might have had 90 or 100 before he retired. He was Melbardis' longtime 4-man teammate, and then Melbardis went to the front seat. Look at how big the guy is. I mean, he's 6'3", about 250 pounds, and look how low he is in the sled. And Martin, he won the 2014-15 event here, so he does know success on this track.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the last time he was here in 2018, he was only 13th. And that's when him and Drieskens were really struggling with back injuries. It's been a couple of years since he's raced in St. Moritz.
Only the 4th best speed, 4/10 lead, should be the leader. Oh, a skid there, another skid there too. 4200ths lead. He'll be the leader, Martin, but boy, the other sleds had some faster speeds down here. Love the way this huge athlete sits so low in the sled. Track record, 5100ths, 106.95. I love seeing those gold numbers, Martin. It's just, we're in a unique spot where we're going to see. So we got to keep track. So we've had 7 sleds down. We've had 5 track records. We should keep track of this. 4
track records so far.
We could 4. So keep track of it, Martin. I bet you we have at least 13 by the time we're done.
Yeah, because it'll get quicker into the second heat as well. So I think that's highly likely. Melbardis.
Well, it just depends well, as soon as Friedrich comes, I think that is 13th. Friedrich is 13th. So as soon as he comes, I think we might, you know.
Ralph Bertschins. Bertschins, I've been corrected. Bertschins, I'm going to have to get used to pronounce that properly. 21st World Cup race for the Latvian. He's 23 years old, has not had a World Cup race here. 1 Europa Cup race and the Junior World Championships in 2018. His only experience.
He makes a big mistake, a second big mistake. I was just going to compliment him on, I think he's had a really good season to date, Martin. To me, he's really improved consistently from when we first saw him a couple years ago as this tall, skinny athlete. And, you know, I just, thought that he was coming along. But, my thoughts was the commentator jinx for him out of curve 1. Now he's got to try and recover. What kind of line we have here? Medium-low line. 4800ths speed. 3rd best speed's not bad, but that skids. It is pretty tricky right there, Martin. Shamrock, Devil's Dyke, and Tree.
In the middle of the chasing pack with Heinrich Treichel, Tentea, and Lamin Dean. And they're all about 6-7 tenths back. Right now,
problems
top 5
out of
run.
He's going to be right in the bubble. I think Stovall and Baumgartner are out. I think he's going to be right in the bubble at 80 hundredths back. But that mistake, he lost 30, 40 hundredths, Martin, out of curve 1.
Well, he's got 2 sleds behind him. We'll only cut 2 from the heat, so he is in, but that was a big error early on.
Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. He should make it. That's a mistake he made. Look at the runner tips there. A little tricky down there in that Devil's Dyke tree bridge section.
Sure is, isn't it? Well, next up, first of our Swiss sleds, this is 22-year-old Michael Vogt, 25th World Cup race for him. He's got a silver medal and 3 bronzes. 2 World Cup races here, 4th in 2019 and 18th last year. So consistency hard to come by. Star record.
Good start. Nice low profile. The Darth Vader visor. 800s lead. Went from 300s to 800s. They always talk over the years, Martin. There's always a Swiss shortcut up there on the wall. I think that might be more myth than legend, but it's certainly a great conversation piece in the bar.
He got bumped away there between Nash and Dixon. Nice.
And then Melbardis here, head-to-head, 500s. He's got it back down to 3. Melbardis had the 3rd best speed down here. Let's see what Vogt can do on his semi-home track.
Yeah, the Swiss had one good sliding here. Christmas to New Year, 106.92.
He held that speed. He was 300s, he was 500s exit of Horseshoe, 3 down in Tree Bridge, and he remained at 3 at the bottom, even with that little tap out of Martineau. In the start, well, they have the best start, and you have to get in, get settled. This first curve comes up pretty quick. You can run all the way to the first curve, but you threaten, the movement as you get around that first curve. And here's the Nash and Dixon. There's a mistake. Or no, that's Snake, excuse me. Or was that Nash and Dixon, Martin? I think.
Yeah, that was Nash and Dixon. Well, next up, Johannes Lochner, last year's race winner here, the 30-year-old. That's one of his 5 World Cup victories. He's had 5 races in St. Moritz, 2 wins, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th. So this guy will be, no question, among our favourites here. Only his brakeman's 3rd 2-man World Cup start, though, and a start record. That's the 6th of the morning.
Well, his brakeman, Florian Bauer, been around. 100, 200 meter sprinter. His favorite athlete, Dirk Nowitzki. Lochner's uncle Rudy had a few medals on this track back in the day. 90 World Championships. I think he was top 5 or 6.
Leading by a 10th as he gets to the Horseshoe, needs big speed through the forest here.
1900s, it's a lot of speed. 2700s, he's flying, Martin. He's gonna get this out maybe to 30, 3500s with that speed. This could be the last track record till Friedrich.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is going to be a new track record. Wow.
Wow. Half second better. It's like, the A division and the B division. Wow. Boy, did he separate himself. He knew it, too. They don't have a clock coming up that straightaway, Martin. He knew it. He knew he had a smooth run. And, this track's all about smooth, quiet. Look at the speed after Horseshoe. Heinrich with the deficient start, but he went early. Crossover into telephone. Spectacular pictures of the transitions. And
And happy as ever.
Court jester.
His brakeman, Florian Bauer, has started two-man races. He's got a gold and a silver out of those. That's quite a record. Next up, Friedrich for Switzerland. Doesn't he look like Beat Hefty? Just quite a lot. 29 years old, former brakeman, 27th World Cup start for him. His only two-man race on this track, though. He finished 8th in 2018, pushing Rico Peter.
Well, he's a miniature Beat Hefty. Beat was a big man. Yeah. I mean, he's got the same girth,
Still
just
is.
a smaller version. Beat was a big man. He was an unbelievable push athlete. And then, of course, when he got into the front seat, he was, with that start time that he would have, he was tough to beat in tracks in Innsbruck and Winterberg. He's got that Olympic medal, too, that thing called the gold medal from 2014. Oh yeah, I'm sure Beat is hovering around the St. Moritz track this weekend.
Andreas Haas, the brakeman, 24 years old, only his second World Cup race. He has had 4 bobsleigh races in his life.
This looks like a second place run.
Yeah, nice run from Friedrich. Gap from first to second, 46 hundredths, and he is not in it. Wow, look at the speed go away at the bottom.
He lost a lot of time, yeah. He was motoring up there before he got into the lower part of the track. Boy, they better put the brakes on there, guys. They do.
Yep.
You know, look how low he gets. He gets, you know, he didn't have a very good entrance into Horseshoe there.
Remember a few years ago in a 4-man race when Beat Hefty was having one of his periodical fallings out with a Swiss? He ran a sled that had friends in it. One other guy and 2 girls. One of the women who was in that sled was in a monobob race last weekend. So sitting in a 4-man sled and practicing on chairs in the lounge, she decided that bobsled was a thing. Next up, Dominik Dvorak, 28 years old, from the Czech Republic, 15th in last year's race here. And one of his best results
here too.
Yeah. 4th place finish in Innsbruck. Best here, 10th place in 2019.
Boy, he used to get better starts than this, Martin. You know, one of the faster drivers that are in the field, the 100-meter sprinter. I think I'd put him up against anybody. But he's just not getting the starts he used to get. And he's got a loud noise in that sled, too.
He has a bit, hasn't he? Suchi, as brakeman, made his 2-man debut in December 2009 in Cesana. So that's how long he's been around.
4/10 back. Best speed, though. Whoa, good sign. So he could take that 4300s and get it down to 30s and get in the top 3. Yeah, losing back some more 5100s. Times back to the second best speed. The lines look correct. Let's see if he can get out of here without tapping out of Martineau. Yes. Second best speed. Top 5. Considering he had the 6th best start, Martin. Again, he's a better starter than that. I don't know if he's injured, but I've been noticing most of the season, he's just not getting the starts he used to.
He's a 10-900 meter man, so he may not be at his very best. Brakeman Suchi, 21st 2-man start. He has done 60 4-man World Cup races, Dominik Suchi.
He's like a sergeant at arms there. I mean,
oh man, yeah, he is your go-to guy for the Czech sliders.
Yeah.
So Johannes Lochner leads for the moment. Next up is Francesco Friedrich. 30 years old.
Is he anxious to go?
Yeah, as ever. He was saying last week,
waste any time.
Can't wait to get here. They look forward to this track all year long. 5:04, what a start.
Oh, and Martin, remember 2013, he won the Junior World Championships, which gave him, look how low he's getting in the cowling. He's getting down low on purpose through the wall for that extra couple hundredths. Such a man. But he won the Junior World Championships, gave Germany 4 sleds in the World Championships there. What did he do? He came out and won the World Championships, coming out of the junior ranks. That's a first. I'm pretty sure that's a first, and I bet you no one else will ever do it.
Not in his career, that's for sure. Not while he's still competing.
Sure.
That was the first of his 6 two-man World Championships, and what a lead. Big speed as well for Francesco Friedrich.
Look at the way he leans to get in and out of some of the on the take-ons.
It's going to be a 106 something, 106.27. Wow.
Okay. Martin, I just noticed him down in bridge and trees, leaning to get on the curves, not steering.
Yep.
I used to notice that from Martin Niemer, East Germans in the 70s. Yeah. Instead of steering,
that's the
he uses
subtlety
his
that
body
he's got.
Yeah. But down in wall, he was ducking his head. You know, look at this line, and look how buried the brakeman is there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only 6'3".
Alexander Schuller.
Looks like he's about.
Alexander Schuller has made 9 World Cup starts, John.
Look at him lean. So look at him lean right there. Yeah.
Schuller the brakeman, 9 World Cup starts, 8 wins, 1 silver. Next up, Rostislav Gajtukovic.
You know?
Wait, this guy's only done 1 Europa Cup race here. Let's see what he's got. Mikhail Mordasov behind him, 13th two-man World Cup start, but for Rostislav, it's only his 8th two-man race.
I like this guy. I think this is the future Russian star here. I've been impressed with his start times. I think the Russians got something here.
Yes,
5:13. Well, that's against the rest of the field. I mean, you know, that's competitive.
Well, that's
he's really low. But I see the
second fastest.
I see the brakeman's shoulders back there. So on this, you know, super high-speed track, aerodynamics is everything. I think his brakeman's up too high there. You can see the shoulders.
It's been 4 years since Gajtukovic came here to St. Moritz, so this is a very different track from last week in Winterberg.
Not bad. Second best speed, 3,500ths off, top 5 run in the potential. See if he can hold it. 46 back, 6th best speed. Whoop, a little mistake there.
Could be top 3 if he's got decent speed at the bottom. Might slip away behind Michael Vogt of Switzerland. 6th at the line. Wow.
76.
He was 3rd coming out of the forest, and that lack of top speed, just killed him.
Yeah, he's 2 kilometers plus down to Friedrich, but so is everybody else.
Yeah, that's true enough.
But he's only if you look at it, he's only about 900ths out of 3rd. Look at his runners there, a little bit of adjustment. Let's see if he leans in and out of the curve. Well, he didn't lean there because he tapped the wall. This is where Friedrich was leaning. Saw a lot of the brakeman there.
Next up, Brad Hall with a change in the back seat. Sam Blanchett was due to be pushing, but Greg Cackett has been put in at the last minute. So Brad Hall finished 8th place last year, really looking for a big 2-man result this season. It didn't happen in Innsbruck. He didn't get to race the 4-man that he was looking for. Greg Cackett in off
Not the
bench.
start times. Not the start times that we saw him, you know, getting when. You know, Martin, about 4 years ago, he had that horrific crash up in Whistler. Still got huge scar tissue on his hand. I think it's his left hand. And I really thought the British had something here. Of course, he won his first medal last season.
Yep.
But, you know, it's about the start times. And he's 4,800s back. Best speed, though.
Now, this is is this his new sled or his older sled? I can't remember. He's got a new sled built by the same Bavarian company that builds the monobobs. I don't think that's it. I think this is his older BTC sled. Oh, long skid on the high straight.
Could have cost him
speed
dearly
still.
right there.
Yeah, and across the line, 7th place. That's Matthias Burmer from Koenigsegg, his coach. They're just
Coach
looking for a break.
Happy.
And yeah, they couldn't run in a 4-man last week because one of their guys pulled a hamstring in the 2-man start and they didn't have a spare. Greg Cackett,
the brakeman's already hitting the mark. Yeah, they didn't have a good cohesive hit there.
Greg Cackett runs a website, TBM, The Brakeman, which is all about the backseat athletes in the sport, which a huge number of his colleagues are involved with. So if you want to know a little bit more about what goes on behind the driver, there's lots of good stuff there. Next up, Benny Meyer. Wife Elizabeth had a good day yesterday. Bronze position off the first heat, still got a top 6 finish. Benny, 19th place in the race here last year, and this may have been one of the ones where he was sitting in, which he did for a number of them last year. Well,
5th best velocity. Well, Benny showed us last week in the European Championships. Look how low he is. Marcus Sommer is tucked in there perfectly in the aerodynamic profile you need. But Benny showed us last week, you know, he medaled in both events for the European Championships, which is a big deal. You know, the Austrians had with Catherine Briel, she medaled. The Austrians had a good weekend last weekend in Winterberg.
Yeah, Janine Flott was in the medals as well in the Europeans. Benny Meyer had a good start, 2nd best start here, but he is already out to 3rd place on the split.
No speed.
And the speed
is suspect. Let's see if he gets out of Martineau. 8th best speed now. Good exit out of Martineau.
3rd at the line.
3rd.
Okay, 6,300 back. I thought that was going to drop away, but he hung on to it.
Those speed traps. Those speed traps are a little misleading, Martin, because it looked like with that 9th best speed, he was going to fall way back.
Yeah. He's got the Francesco Friedrich logo on the sled. Francesco, one of his sponsors. He also bought a sled from Francesco a couple of years ago. Little bump in
He's a good student of the game. Yeah. Good student of the game. Takes apart the equipment, puts it back together. He's old school, Martin. And plus now he's a father.
Next up, Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands. 7th place finish here last year. One of his 2 best World Cup results ever. And Janko Francic, 11th World Cup start. He has pushed Ivo in all of the 2-man starts that they've had this season. This is their 6th 2-man race. They weren't in Sigulda the first 4 races of the season.
Martin, a little history. The Dutch last medal on this track in 2-man bobsled, 2009-10. Edwin van Kalker, Sigrun Drasma. The Dutch too have a little history on this track. And we can say very easily here that Ivo's been down the track quite a few times. How many starts has he got, World Cup starts?
52nd this is today. And in fact, this is his 7th World Cup race here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
6/10 back, 11th best speed. Well, you know,
you can get a top 10 in the 11th heat.
Best, yeah. 11th best start, you know, sort of sentenced you to 10th or 11th best time. Good lines into the speed part of the track. Decent speed on the bottom. He definitely improved.
Top 10, 10th place.
10.
Dominic Dvorak ahead of him, but he's in 10th. 300s ahead of Heinrich in 11th place. So very tight battle between those two.
11th best start, 10th best drive finish. You'll watch his wife compete. Is she in the women's mountain bob race?
Yeah, she is. Look at the height. Oh, just a touch on the woodwork.
Well, if you can't, win, be spectacular, Evo. That was.
Saw a video last night of Dominic Dvorak's first trip through Horseshoe when he had just been pushed into the front seat, hit the wood, just went straight up into the woodwork. The sled came down like a plane crash. Terrifying. Check that out. Hans-Peter Hanighofer now from Germany. Third ever World Cup start from the 23-year-old from Oberhof. This is his third season of bobsledding and his World Cup best, third place in Innsbruck.
Start, nothing like Lochner. I mean, Friedrich's got the best start. Lochner's in second with the third best start. Meyer is in third with the second best start. Boy, Benny Meyer with the second best start. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's been super fit this season. Hanighofer has never raced anything in St. Moritz. So 2 days of training. Because of COVID, training is not 3 days, it's now 2 days. He's had 6 trips.
He didn't have European?
Four-man.
No, you're...
Never raced
no
here
European events?
Never, no. Surprising, isn't it? But he has not been here before. He's one of a couple of sliders who've never seen this track before today, or before this week.
Martin, the track's a lot more forgiving.
Yeah.
The track's a lot more forgiving than it was 30 years ago, I can tell you that.
Third best speed, but he's all at 6s and 7s. Across the line, it's still third.
Wow, and he hit twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
He may have been on target for second place there, but he was all over the place between Martineau and Portago.
I think it was 10 hundredths that cost him. Yeah, that cost him 8 hundredths, 10 hundredths, but I don't think he would have caught Lochner. But wow, look at the arms come up in cohesion.
Yeah, these two, it's their third World Cup race together. But,
Ricochet Rabbit there. That's the only guy we've seen hit both sides of the wall.
Could still get a medal out of this. What a good first run from Hans-Peter Hanighofer. Next up, Justin Crips, 5th place last year. His best here, 2018, in the 2-man. He was in 4th. Last Canadian medal, Lyndon Rush, tied for gold with Andre Langer in February 2010.
Crips might have something to say about the top 3. 10 hundredths back on the start, which,
5th best start.
Which is
That's
the
a good
5th
getaway.
best start. And the Darth Vader visor. Cam Stones, the Rugby Sevens player back there.
69th 2-man World Cup race as a driver.
And he was, a 4-man crew for, I think, in the 2010 games. And he made the transition. 2200s, he's doing well. He was 2100s behind before Horseshoe. 2200s means he's on line.
Top 3 run. He's going to be challenging Friedrich and Lochner.
Oh, we jinxed him. We jinxed him.
Yeah. Let's see if he's still third at the line. Yes, he is still third at the line. He had a clean last couple of corners, and that's what left him ahead of Hanighofer.
Well, he'll beat himself up. That speed part of the track. If you're going to make a mistake, make it when you're going fast, not when you're going slow. But look at that. I mean, that was a weird adjustment there, Martin.
Yeah.
As he came out of Dixon. And then here, boy, sled gets away from him. But it's not as costly at the high speed as it is at the slow speed.
Yeah, for sure. So Justin Crips lying in third after his first heat, 19 sleds down, 20th sled, Cody Basque of the USA, the 26-year-old from Whitehall, New York. And behind him, Carlo Valdez. Valdez, a silver and a bronze here with Stephen Holcomb in 2016 and 2017's 2-man races. Cody, 4 World Cups here. He was 13th, 25th, 20th, and 13th. But he didn't race here, didn't race in Europe the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's some health issues. not healthy. Boy, 14th best start. Now he's got a different visor than the Darth Vader look. He's sitting up pretty high. You know, of course the BMW's got a different cowling. Ooh, big mistake there, and Snake. See how he does here in Nash and Dixon. Not bad. Got a speed, 7/10 back, 13th best speed. Boy, Martin going late in the heat, supposed to be an advantage. Haven't seen it yet. The German did pretty good.
From Crips, yeah, Crips and Hanegoffer.
Hanegoffer, yeah, and Crips. Yeah.
Top three.
Late.
I'm not sure it's the track. It's been a few years, a couple of years since Cody was here. And mistakes early on take the speed out of the sled. He's 12th at the line, so he's ahead of Ivo de Bruyn. He's ahead of Heinrich, Treichel, Tentia, and all of those guys. But right now, on the bubble, Stulnev 19th, Baumgartner 20th. Like you said half an hour ago, they are going to struggle to make the race.
Mistake here in the Snake. Look at the pressure. Pops up Carlo Valdez on the brakes there. Look at the runner tips. Look at him playing with the runners there. Not a lot of confidence going into Horseshoe.
Yeah,
nice line.
To the left, and he knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch the runner tips. You see him straighten up halfway down the outlet of the corner into telephone. And he lies in 12th place with 20 sleds down. Francesco Friedrich leading by 2/10. Now to make it into the race in his first appearance in St. Moritz, Jeff Garbois, the 26-year-old. 6 World Cup start. Boone Niederhofer behind him. World Cup debut for the brakeman.
Well, the start time is not going to help him. He's got the 20th best start of 21 teams. You know, and he's got no experience on the track.
When they were in Winterberg, that completed their 5 tracks in 3 continents, or 5 races, 3 tracks in 2 seasons, whatever it is, 5-3-2, that will make them eligible for World Cup status next year, the Olympic qualifying year. So it was a good result for them.
Ooh,
Boone Niederhofer Niederhofer started his career pushing Nick Cunningham in North America's Cup. Cunningham is here coaching the team. Now 17th best off the 20th start. Don't forget, he said he had 2 days of training. He's in the race, so he will make the heat, and Patrick Baumgartner will not. And he is ahead. He is ahead of Ralf Sperschinch. He is ahead of Alexei Stulnev. So Garbois is guaranteed a second run.
Little pop there. And then here, this is a hard hit. I mean, that's the hardest hit we've seen so far. And again, you know, he's got, what, 6 trips down the track?
Yeah.
Training between the 2 and the 4.
In his life. He's walked it probably as often as he's driven it. And finally, this is a big feel-good story. Chris Spring, last weekend in 4-man, won in Altenburg in the Europa Cup, back at the track that nearly killed him and his crew, what, 6-7 years ago. And here he is back in the World Cup. His first World Cup start since Lake Placid, February 2 years ago. Chris Spring's best race here is 6th place on his debut in 2014 and 7th his last race in 2018.
I think 2011 was the accident, November 2011 in Altenburg.
Wow, is it a decade ago? You might well be right.
Yeah, I think was there that day.
His first race was North America's Cup race, a 2-man race in Calgary on the 17th of January 2008. 13 years ago tomorrow, he had his first official international race.
And he was racing for Australia then.
Yes, he was.
Right?
two-man World Cup debut was at Cesana, February 2011, a decade ago. And Mike Evelyn behind him makes his decade here. Springer across the line in 10th. Welcome back, Springer.
The look on his face just says, I'm born to be a bobsledder. You know, that just, the guy has toiled through the sport. And again, welcome back, Chris. Great to see you back here.
Well, he has this aura of happy-go-lucky hippie type, but in fact, he's very methodical, very organized. He's a trainee commercial pilot as well, and you can't busk that.
No, got great eyes and hands, multiple World Cup, medals.
And Mike Evelyn, his 8th ever bobsled race in two-man. So our race leader, well, what a surprise. Francesco Friedrich and Alexander Schuller. They had the start record, they had the track record. And Friedrich leads after the first of our 2 heats. And it was a near perfect performance. He will have 2 or 3 thoughts of things that he wants to tidy up because he is never happy with being fastest. He wants to go faster. Johannes Lochner in second, Justin Crips and Hans-Peter Hannikhofer battling for third. Benny Meyer, maybe a shot, seems unlikely in these conditions. He's 5th ahead of Michael Vogt, Oskars Melbardis and Seaman Friedrich, with Rostislav Gajtukovic also in that group. And then look, Spring and Hall tied 600s ahead of Dvorak. Where are we? Innsbruck? These gaps are tiny, considering this is a 1,500-meter track. And early starters, Alexei Stulnev and Patrick Baumgartner, they don't get to go in the second heat. Ralf Berchins will be the first man down as we go 20-1 to decide the medals in beautiful St. Moritz. Join us for the second heat. We'll be up at 11 Central European time, 10 GMT. That's 0500 Eastern. We'll be back then. Bye for now.